What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel for this Friday weekly market watch as we discuss what went down this week. To start off this video, Zach Stone, we walked away with some tickets to the first DLC that's going to happen in North America at Milwaukee, happening October 24th and 26th. And if you didn't know, tickets went on sale this Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a fiasco. There was a website from the tournament organizer, and then literally like 2 minutes before 9 a.m. when they were supposed to go on sale, they moved the website over to Eventbrite. So many people didn't. It was a bunch of confusion. They had a Lorecast about it, and they kind of basically apologized. It was a lot of up and down in the community the other day, right, Zach?
Yeah, this is the market watch, but we do want to take a little bit of time right now to just talk about like that experience. I definitely can empathize with those that may have just only had so much available free time. We're only given the bits and pieces of the information. I know I told a lot of my friends that, hey, you guys want to be in this Discord and you guys want to be paying attention to this chat because a lot of stuff has been communicated from here and I don't see it anywhere else. And that was the biggest point, is that they made all these changes and they did all this on Eventbrite, switching from a previous website that everyone knew about without posting on social media, without giving any time. They just made the announcement on their Discord server. So it's something that's imperative, and that a lot of these events need to be circulated. But they did announce on the Lorecast that they do have 300 more tickets available for the event and more attendee badges also for sale. And they're going to be figuring out how to sell those in the coming weeks. So I hope that this is a better time for people to have a chance to get in. I know a lot of people are still waiting to get their tickets, but it's unfortunate because so many people were prepared, ready, were told a link when they had to be there, and they got punished for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
Yeah, it feels like the ball was dropped. It was it was a not fun experience because by 8 a.m., 8:15, we started seeing people posting pictures that tickets went on sale early. Maybe daylight savings had an issue to do with it. People were basically buying tickets, adding them to their cart. They had confirmed sales through email and debit card transactions before 9 a.m. And the tournament organizer even admitted that it was a mistake, and they couldn't issue any refunds. Can you imagine issuing 300 plus refunds and transaction fees? A lot of money. So I did not expect them to refund any of that, but I think that's probably why they're going to add more tickets, because it was basically unfair for those tickets to go on sale. I do got to commend Team Lorcana for trying to do to make up for it in some way. Obviously, there's only 3 North American Lorcana challenges, but if you didn't get your tickets to Milwaukee, like Zach Stone just said, you're going to have more opportunities soon. So be sure to join the Lorcana official Discords, keep up with them on social media platforms. But even then, sometimes it's just not enough, because the Discord that you're talking about, Zach, it wasn't even the Lorcana Discord. It was the tournament organizers Discord. So unless you were in the new tournament organizers Discord, then you weren't gonna know
Pastime events.
Pastime events, yeah. I didn't want to out them out, but whatever. Pastime events. Again, shout out them. They're doing whatever they can to organize the event and whatnot. But yeah. I'm just excited to be able to play in an official event challenge. Again, we've expressed before that we wish there was 20 of these. We wish we didn't have to fight for these tickets, which essentially means we're going to be fighting for some of these promos, right? New promos coming out for this new season. Right now we're in Set Champs season, so here is our Set Champs promo. But I can't imagine how those DLC promos are going to be selling for, especially given the scarcity in attendee and competitive badges. I get the feeling some of those promos, the non-foils, the new ones that just got announced, are going to be selling for a hefty price, because these tickets are hard to acquire. These events are clearly hard to get into. But let's move on from the DLC stuff, because we're still like 3 months away from October, right? So we're gonna go ahead and discuss the Jafar, High Sultan of Lorcana. This is the store championship promo you can win throughout these next couple weeks for playing your Set Champs season. Right now, they're currently still selling for a little bit more than $40, which I think is a lot. There's only 7 listings online, so if you have a TCG player account, I think it's good to take advantage of this right now. $42 by Limitless Games is the lowest verified, and I wanted to try and win one, but I'm still on this thing where Ravensburger has not allowed stores to host set championships during the weekdays. So on weekends I'm always busy, and even I don't think you can host them on Friday either. So on Saturday and Sunday, Zach Stone and I are working at our booths respectively. I'm down in Carlsbad at the Ninja Exchange, and Zach Stone can be found at Frank and Sons Collectibles in the City of Industry. If you guys ever want to come visit us and support the Lorcana Goons community or any or our card game industry in general. But Zach Stone, I know you don't really have a lot of time to play the set champs right now, but if you did, what deck would you take to try and win this Jafar High Sultan?
Ooh, it's tough. I think there's a couple different decks that I like right now in this format. I think Emerald Amethyst is a very strong color combination, and there's some people that we know that have been having some success with it. But of course, Amber Steel is going to be my number one go-to because one, it's just the deck I'm the most comfortable with, and two, it just feels like it's in the more flexible spot. So in my honest opinion, it's going to be Amber Steel. And, it's funny that we're talking about Amber Steel because we have the Prince Naveen right here. And that Enchanted is going for about $85 right now. And I think that this is still a good pickup. We have to always think about anything from sets 5 through 8 and how they will survive the post rotation meta. So Prince Naveen's here to stay. And we are still seeing some other support from different colors. So we're seeing like Amber Sapphire get some more songs. And this card's still a very powerful card. Being able to cast a 6 cost or song for free when you play them is very good. There's still some more characters to help you cost reduction, like the Huey. So playing this on turn 3 and getting a lot of tempo sounds really good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there is a world where they rotate out Ariel Spectacular Singer, right? And the Gaston as well. That's a Singer 5. So you're probably not gonna have as many Singer 5 plus characters that you would normally have in Amber Steel coming post rotation. So maybe Prince Naveen is that card, right? This card used to sell for more than $100, and right now they've kind of bottomed out at 80, and they were slowly just trickling back up a little bit. But I am excited to see what's gonna get rotated out before we move on to more cards. I do want to mention this Mickey Mouse True Friend promo. This Chinese promo right here, lowest listings today. They are $13. These are really cheap because these used to sell for a lot more, if I'm not mistaken. They were definitely not selling for $13. They were selling for around 30 to 30 plus dollars a couple months ago, right? So you want to get your Mickey Mouse promo, True Friend. These are really cheap right now. You can find them on TCG Player if you're collecting any of these foreign promos. But I think part of the reason why this is going down is because I don't know if you saw that post, Zach, but Ravensburg is announcing puzzles like just Ravensburger Lorcana puzzles, because that's what they're known for. But now they're gonna have Lorcana puzzles as well, and you get a Mickey Mouse True Friend promo in the puzzles. So overall, not my favorite product. I think it's kind of silly. I think it's cool, right? And I'm probably gonna buy one for my fiance because she actually likes building puzzles, unironically. So it'd be cool to build a Lorcana themed puzzle together. But the Mickey promo in there, not my favorite. What do you think?
Is it the one where you can go get signed at the parks?
No, it's not. No, it looks exactly like the Lilo escape artist and the other red Mickey foil. So it's that foiling that has sparkly. I forget what they called it.
Oh, the glimmer foils. The
Yes,
glimmer
yes, it's a
foils.
glimmer foil.
So
Yes.
yeah. So that is interesting because I haven't actually seen anything like this. I'm actually gonna ask you to show me later on today. But yeah, those puzzles are.
I do think that the Maui Half Strike is a great card, and like you rightfully pointed out, we're not going to see this card go away for sure. But we don't know what actions are going to end up, surviving the rotation. I feel like part of the reason why Maui Half Strike is so good in a lot of these decks is because you're able to combo it off with cards like Brawl, How Far I'll Go, Friends on the Other Side, Pirates Life, many cards that are from sets 1 through 4 that could be rotated out. So there is a world where maybe the Maui Half Strike just does not see any play next format, but I really doubt it because this card's just that good. It's a 6 cost, 7 strength. This guy has evasive, and he just does more than he has like 3 different abilities, right? Any card and in most card games that has like 3 different abilities is more than likely going to be a good card. So I think it's going to stick around. Maui Half Sharks almost $50. You guys missed out on them if you didn't pick them up when they were less than 40. Cold foils are still a decent price. I think 55 around $55 for a Maui cold foil Half Shark by Trading Card Corner right here. Lowest verified. Let's go ahead and move on to another legendary card that's been seeing a lot of play this format. Namari Single-Minded Rival. This card's interesting, dude. It started out selling for around 25-ish plus dollars in the pre-release, and then it dipped all the way to around $12. But we've been seeing a lot of success with Namari Single-Minded Rival being used in, I think, usually Amber Steel decks. I think the first time we really saw it used was in Edmund Chu's World Championship deck list. He had it in his Amber Steel deck, and his deck was built a little bit differently because it was for that Worlds format. But I have been seeing a lot of Amber Steel players now utilize this in their whole new World Singer Song deck. I think it's pretty good, and it's shooting back up to $20. Lowest verified Pokekana. Oomph. Love that name. 1750 with the $1.31 shipping. Then Hollow SQ 1899, then 1915 by Scrub Tier Gaming. So very close to that $20 mark again for your Namari single-minded arrivals, Zach.
Yeah, very good card out of the Reign of Jafar set. You know, it is going to be the set that into the following rotation after this one, we'll see the least amount of play. And I think that's something to kind of think about too, is that like there will be some sets that will have like less of time available into the rotation meta, whereas a set like Fabled is going to be around for quite a while since it's going to survive into the following rotation, right? Same with like Shimmering Skies. Shimmering Skies will be around the longest out of all of them into the next rotation. So I'm hopeful that we'll see some important cards come back, and I'd like to see a lot of the big power staples also return. But we'll see. Maybe they could print some newer cards that do similar things that are just maybe slightly more balanced. But yeah, the regular Prince Devines too are also still around $7. We just want to quickly mention that since we did go over the Enchanted earlier. So if you're looking to get your cheap copies, they are slightly going up. I would pick them up sooner than later. But a card that I'd also say you would be benefiting from picking up more now than before is Rhino. Rhino's gone
Mm-hmm.
down to about $6.50. This card was completely hyped in the beginning of the meta for very justified reasons. It's still a very good card, but a
Yeah.
lot of decks have been finding answers and adding tools to their decks to be able to deal with it. I do want to mention shout outs to Molstar. He brought up the dump truck, being able to ping the one cost Rhino on turn one. That way,
Ooh.
if they do shift it, it does come into play with damage, so it does not have that resist. I like that a
Oh,
lot.
that's
So
clever. That is very clever. Yeah, wow. Interesting. I
yeah,
never
big
really
brain
really
plays
I
right
never
there.
realized that you could do stuff like that, like preemptively add damage to it so that when you do shift it, no more resist. That is some big brain thinking by Molstar. I think it is a little risky though, right? Because then you give them a free Rapunzel heal, but I mean, it's a one draw off Rapunzel if they choose to not, and then they basically have to not exert it for the rest of the game until they Rapunzel. Wow, that's pretty cool. Shout out Molstar, local Lorcana player. Let's go ahead and move on to another Amber card that is seeing a lot more play as of recently. Goofy, the groundbreaking chef. Look at this card, Zach. Kind of just shooting up in price in the last couple weeks or so, from as low as $5 to $6 when it first came out. Now they're hitting almost $10 for this non-foil legendary. Now, Goofy, at the end of your turn, you can ready all of your characters that have a damage on it, and then you remove one damage every time. And I think this synergizes very, very well with ruby colors like the Madame. No, wait, with ruby colors like the Mulan and the Mother Gothel, or even some of your like steel packages like your Mr. Smees. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty cool to be able to keep your characters ready so they can't be challenged. And I think a lot of people are realizing that because they're almost $10 vs TCG, $9.50 for your goofy groundbreaking chefs. But you can also get them in this interesting cold foil that comes in the Illumineer's Quest, and these are also going up in price, Zach. These were around $10. Market price for these is still $13, $14, but lowest of verified, $18.50. There's only 5 listings left. The next listing is $20, then $19.99 by SoCal Card Shop. Shout out you guys. So it's pretty much a $20 promo card from your Illumineer's Quest. I like to see that.
Yeah, these are very unique to the Palace Heist, and I very much think that this is going to be a meta-defining card. This Goofy is great. I love the synergy with the Ruby class, like you did mention earlier, Kevin. But there's still a lot of other ways to make this card work. You can damage your own characters like Mr. Smee, and I do believe that Mr. Smee can keep them, but Infinity format's a different story. We do want to kind of mention that Infinity format will allow all the cards and have its own unique ban list to it. And we will have a DLC in the Infinity format, so you want to keep that in mind. But another card that come out of the new Reign of Jafar set that we're seeing a lot of play right now is this Tinkerbell. I know that there was a Ruby Sapphire deck that came out. It was more of the aggressive toolbox with a lot of high strength characters, and that way you can exert them to gain that extra lore off this Tinkerbell. Again, one copy from each seller, so you're gonna have to get them from multiple different sellers. And again, a card that will not go away in the post rotation. I very much believe that this card is not explored too much. We're seeing some decks kind of break out, but I think there's a lot of potential for a card like this, and I'm excited about it.
Same. I try to use this card in the beginning of the format with Ruby Steel as my engine, just so I can keep the Tinkerbell alive, Flynn Rider, fire the cannons, dock stuff like that. But I like it in Ruby Sapphire too. And Ruby Sapphire just makes sense because you have the kind of Sapphire engine to put pressure on the board. You can use McDuck Manners. You know, you have extra removal tools as well, and you're not maybe you don't rely on something like fire the cannons, but you can end up using something like Let It Go, right? And you're naturally playing big Ruby characters like Maui and Maximus that can kind of help you utilize the Ruby Sapphire advantage. So I think, and then maybe even a ramp into some of these bigger characters, which is really important, right? But that deck is really cool. I have been seeing it kind of pop off. I like to see the Tinkerbell being cheap still, so it's less than $10 for a cold foil. This card does not come in an enchanted rare or anything like that, so I do think it's gonna end up being a little bit more expensive in the future for a cold foil Tinkerbell. But since we're on the topic of cold foil, Zach Stone, Diablo, Obedient Raven, this one cost character, still selling for almost $10 for a cold foil. They used to be more than $10, but right now you can find them for $8.50 by Top Table Gaming. Right here, they have 5 of them for you. Get a whole playset of your Diablo Obedient Ravens right there. And if you guys want to foil out your Emerald Steel decks, we have Pete Space Pirate selling for less than $10 today. Market price is $10 for this card, but lowest verified is $7.64 for a cold foil. Looking like some of the Lorcana cards are on sale this week, right? I feel like a lot of the pricing for the game has just been kind of coming down, falling down, and I think it's a pretty good time to start buying in some stuff.
Yeah, I actually want to kind of take a look at this little market price history that TCG Player has right here. So it does kind of show it trending completely downward. And I do want to highlight that around May, we saw the price still stay around $15. And within a couple months, it's below 10. So is it a buyer's market? I think so. But we have to see what happens. And again, a lot of unfortunate news has just happened in this game, and news affects card prices. But with that, more news about Fabled will be coming out during Gen Con, and when that does happen, we will get some reveals. And I do believe more news will affect the market then. So you do want to kind of pay attention to this kind of time point in Lorcana. It's a very interesting time, and we might see some things change in the coming weeks. But and now that we're on the topic of Pete's, let's go to the good old Pete Games referee, the God card. Now, this cold foil has also seen a little bit downward of a price. Again, the market price history shows that this card was as high as $18 around like May, late April, but it's gone down to about 10. Still a solid price, but it's crazy to see it drop that far. I honestly think it should be a little more, knowing that this card does survive the post rotation.
It's a great card, right? But I think a lot of it has to do with people's commitment to playing the game. Not even interest, because there's an interest to playing the game. The game's not going to die, right? These DLC tickets sold pretty much immediately. There's a demand to play this game, right? But I think a lot of it does also come from like the opportunity, the availability to play this game. You know, because if everything's selling out, there's no events to go to, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it's going to make a difference, I think, in Pete selling at almost $20 as opposed to now as low as $10, because there's less people who need them. There's just infinitely less people who need them if you're providing infinitely less opportunities to play the game, right? Especially on a worldwide scale. You can't even play the English cards in some areas. You know what I mean? So that's a big difference too. Like if they're adding more DLCs to other parts of the world, non-English speaking parts, which is great, but but in exchange they're taking away DLCs from the English speaking parts of the world, then less cards are going to be used for that are English, right? So let's go ahead and finish off today's episode with a Bolt Super Dog. I think this card is very awesome to see. The cold foil is only $5, and it's a pretty cheap card that I think is going to be very relevant the more and more illusions come out. It's a card from set 7, so it's not going to get rotated out. And I don't know, I like the Bolt I like the Bolt and Penny packages and strategies in the Amber Steel deck. I feel like they're just going to keep showing love to this archetype or this theme.
Yeah, and the ability to just re-ready it and gain some extra lore every time is just an incredible ability. I've always felt like gaining lore outside of questing is like an edge that is hard to deal with, and that's why I think that Tinkerbell is really good that we just talked about, but this Bolt is also really good because of that too. And cold foils are pretty expensive, but I do want to remind those that this did come out in a single player deck for the Arcasia's Island, so you can find those in there, but we've seen some cold foils from single player decks stay up in price, right?
Yeah, yeah, we've definitely seen them kind of shoot up to even as high as $10. Diago sometimes will go up in price past its $5 mark. The more and more people play it, so I think there's a world where this bolt ends up being one of those cards. But that is going to be all for this Friday weekly Market Watch. My Lorcana Goons, remember to join us every Friday for the Market Watch and every Monday for the competitive Meta Watch, where Zach and I break down what you guys are playing and how to play those decks. Right? We hope you guys can acquire tickets to DLCs if that's what you're trying to do. If you have not gotten your tickets to Milwaukee, good luck. Like we were saying before, just be a part of every social media aspect you can that's related to Lorcana to possibly try and ensure your ticket. It shouldn't have to be this way. Like it literally shouldn't have to be this difficult. But that's kind of where we're at right now, man. And like we've been saying, the game's very much alive and well. Like it's sold out very very quickly, so there's definitely an interest in playing this game. However, it is all the recent news is making a pretty big impact on the way the prices are looking. But I just think it's a great opportunity to build some extra decks, get your friends into it, start collecting some cards that you think are going to be good post rotation because we are going to start getting those card reveals very soon. Gen Con is when? Like in a week? In about a week. And they said they're going to start revealing more and more cards the weekend of Gen Con. So we're finally going to see what gets reprinted in Fabled. Zach Stone, anything you want to say before we call it a day today?
Guys, yeah, I do want to mention that at my booth at Frankensons, I have been letting people know if you guys come by and do some big deals with me, I am going to shout you out at the end of our Friday market watches. So I have some shout outs this week, and shout outs to John and Austin. Appreciate you guys for picking up my Enchanted. It was a great deal. Shout outs to Matt. You came by, you asked about some help, but you're interested in the game, and I do like how our card game history was exactly the same. It was like Yu-Gi-Oh, Hearthstone, Lorcana. So shout outs to you. And Justin, again, shout outs to you. Justin wants to let everyone know in the SoCal area, if you go to Universal, go visit Mario Kart and ride the Fast and Furious roller coaster. So thank you guys.
That's hilarious. Awesome people. We really appreciate you guys, our Lorcana Goons. Be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.